careful. It did snow yesterday, so there are chances that you would find a lot of snow on the drive.
सो आज हमारे पॉडकास्ट पे एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग पर्सन आए हैं हु इज अ मोटर राइडर एंड ही हैज टर्न्ड हिज passion into a very unique business model. So welcome to the Manav show, Piyush.
Thanks, Manav. Thanks for inviting me.
So Piyush, let's directly start by diving right into your favorite trip that you ever had and what made it special for you.
Okay. So my company Motorover, we've done about 75 trips, out of which I myself must have led about 25-30 trips. It's very hard for me to pick one because they're all very special to me. But if I have to, then the most adventurous, longest road journey that I've done so far is we did an expedition of Central Asia, 4 countries. Started from Kazakhstan, went into Uzbekistan, then to Tajikistan at the south, and then finishing it in Kyrgyzstan. That I would say is the most special journey that I've done so far for many reasons. First of all, it was my first overland journey. So when you cross borders by land and you do such a road journey, it's called an overland journey. So it was my first overland journey. I mean, we do a lot of trips in Europe where we cross a lot of countries, but there's no border control, so you don't feel it. And in Europe, more or less, everything is not that different. But here, the moment you cross the border, everything is different. The houses, the people, the way they look, their language, food, their attire, and just the overall feel. Even the smell of the country is different, So that was pretty interesting. Then when we finished the tour, the Indian ambassador to Kyrgyzstan came to flag us in, like to culminate the tour, and they surprised us with an official state dinner. The Indian embassy hosted a state dinner for our group, and while we were in Tajikistan, so it's the southernmost stan country, as they say. So there are 5 stan countries. So that's Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, and Kyrgyzstan. Out of which Turkmenistan is very difficult to go to. It's a dictatorship. Visas are very hard to get, so usually people avoid that, and that's what we did. So we did the other 4 countries. So Tajikistan is the southernmost out of this, and the southern border of Tajikistan is the northern border of Afghanistan. So Afghanistan is right below, and one of the portion in the border areas that we were doing was along the Wakhan corridor of Afghanistan. So Wakhan corridor is like like a tongue coming out of the northeastern part of Afghanistan, and we were riding along on the Tajik side of the border, and we were just 50-100 meters away. There was just a river in between, and then there was Afghanistan, and we could see the Taliban patrol cars and the Talib fighters with their AK-47s walking along and doing border patrol, and we were waving to them. So that was pretty surreal. Lots and lots of off-road. I love mountains, very scenic mountains, and a lot of change and a lot of variety in the scenery all around as we kept changing countries. In the middle of the journey, I also had an accident, or rather at the start of the journey, but I still carried on. So, and we really became like brothers, the whole group. So I think that's what makes this the most special journey for me so far.
Oh, so when you spend so much time, like 25 days with the people, it becomes like a proper friendship वाला bonding बन जाता है सबके बीच में. जैसे वो जिंदगी ना मिलेगी दोबारा में सब लोग रोड ट्रिप करते हैं, एकदम बहुत स्पेशल बॉन्ड बन जाता है. So it becomes very special. And you said a point that you got injured during your bike trip that you were going through. So what made you feel कि यार मेरे को ये trip continue करना है, मेरे को रुकना नहीं है? What was your mindset at that time?
Um, Two things. On the personal front, this was also the most adventurous trip that I was doing. So I was excited about this and I really wanted to do it. So the motivation came from there that I must do this. And and secondly, this is my business. So I'm also answerable to the people that I'm conducting for, and I'm the main guy. I know the planning, the bookings, everything, which route we are going to take, which hotel I've booked. So without me, it was impossible to do. We even considered whether I could fly back and I could send my colleague, but he didn't know the planning that I've done. So it had to be me. So I continued with the group. I sat in the support car and we loaded my bike on the support car. And for a few days, I was in the support car. And also sitting in the car, it was I was getting really jealous, and it was very overwhelming for me to just sit in the car when I could see the guys riding in front of me and having so much fun. So that was the third motivation. So I think 4-5 दिन के बाद I said कि I'm feeling okay now. Just unload my bike and riding from next day. At least एक दिन try करते हैं. But then that day went well, and it was a bit stupid of me because that was the one of the most difficult days of the trip. The day I decided to start riding again. But that went well, and then I said that if I can do the most difficult day properly, then I think I'll be able to do everything the rest of the trip nicely. So I continued.
Right. So as you said, there were support cars. So if you're planning one trip, for example, to say so for the trip that you're saying, so how many people you choose to go for that trip particularly, and how many support cars you have with you?
Usually there's only one support car. So we do motorcycle tours as well as self-drive car tours. On both type of journeys, the format is pretty much the same. There's a lead vehicle. On motorcycle tours, it's a bike. On car tours, it's a car. So lead car or lead bike. And at the end of the convoy, there's a sweep vehicle, as we call it, which is also the support car. So in both car and bike tours, it's a car. Okay. It's usually a big SUV or a van, which carries luggage, extra supplies of food, first aid kit, any other things that we may need for the road, even things like kettle and cutlery and table and gas to cook, make chai on the way and things like that. And usually in difficult destinations, this car is driven by a mechanic, so that we have also a mechanic with us who can fix the car or the bike if there's an issue or if there's any fall. So yeah, but usually one support car is enough.
One support car is enough. Okay. So as you said about your company Motorova, and we are talking about that also. So Motorova was born out of your love for adventure and open road. But was there a particular moment when you realized कि यही वो point है कि मेरे को इसको business में convert करना है?
Yes. So I had the confidence that I will be able to do this, but I was not taking any action about it. So for 2 years, I was just mulling over it and thinking about it and talking to people and telling my friends what I'm going to do, but not actually doing it. Now at that time, my now wife, then girlfriend, was in France for a year, and I had gone to see her, and I was taking a train journey from her place to Geneva, and I was looking out of the window, and there was a small river snaking along the route of the train, and beyond that there was a small road going through trees. And at one point I saw a group of bikers going, and for a while they were going along with the train, and I said that the difference between me sitting here right now and me being there with them is my decision only. Right. Only I'm stopping myself. So I said, "Bas, jo bhi ho, let's start from tomorrow. As soon as I go home, quit your job and just start." So I think that was the tipping point for me.
Right. Okay, so when you decided कि आपने वो पूरा जर्नी देखा, लोग मोटरसाइकिल से जा रहे हैं, so as a traveler you have experienced the Indian road also and you have seen the foreign roads also. So what difference do you see in Indian roads and the foreign roads like?
Where do I begin? I mean, it's apples and oranges. It's completely different experience. Uh, you cannot enjoy uh, road tripping so much in India. Not because the country is not beautiful. I would still, I mean, I tell everyone that I think India is the most beautiful country in the world because it's got so much variety. So geographically, we are all set, but it's the indiscipline on the road. There's just too many people on the road conditions, dust and our hot weather that make it a little difficult. I mean, you have to go to places like Ladakh where you have an enjoyable experience, but rest of the places, like especially for me, when I'm on Indian roads, I'm a little anxious and I'm always very, very careful and I don't go beyond 120 kilometers per hour speed because you never know who'll suddenly come in the middle, be it dogs or cattle or children or somebody just running and crossing the road or even on a scooter from, this farm to the villages on the other side of the highway. So they just randomly, and there are bushes in the middle of on the median. So suddenly someone comes but outside, most of the places that I've been, people usually have that basic discipline of how to use a road. And so you're not worried all the time that if I take a corner very fast, there will be someone around the corner or there will be a big pothole or a patch of oil or gravel. So that makes you feel more free and you can really enjoy the driving or riding experience is enjoyable. Whereas here, it's a lot of stress for me. So that is, I would say, the difference.
So as you said about stress, dust, and everything, so I have done a road trip. I like doing road trips. I had done a road trip during my MBS that was from Sydney to Melbourne. So it was around 1,000 to 1,200 kilometers, and we did it at a one stretch. We didn't stop. Okay, and after completing, when we reached Melbourne, I was not at all tired after driving for such a long time. But if I'm doing that same thing India में ना, पूरा बर्नआउट हो जाता है, एकदम थक के आ जाता है, मतलब ऐसे लगता है कि अभी बस हो गया, अभी सोने का है.
Yes, this is the mental stress, the road conditions, also our weather plays a big part in this. These things make it very stressful. It's not a very enjoyable experience. Not everywhere, but in most places. So there are good patches still remaining where you could go and enjoy this, or you could go early morning and then there's less traffic and you can stay away from the highways and go on the interior roads. Then it's fine. But otherwise, these factors really spoil the experience.
So you often talk about road trips as more than just travels. There's a way of life. So have any road trip taught you any life lesson?
So many of them. And so many lessons also. Like, might sound a little cliched, but so once I reach the destination, it's usually some town, and it's the same. There's buildings, there's road, traffic, taxi, etc. So what I enjoy is the journey of how I got here, and the terrain, how it changed. First in the morning when we started was mountains, then we went along coast, and then little bit we were going through some vineyards or some lavender fields or something, and then finally then the road started climbing up a ghat section, and then we got to this place. So this journey is what it's all about for me. So which sort of teaches you that it's not about just reaching a point in your life in your 50s or 60s where you have enough money, nice house, nice car. It's the journey that takes you there. You have to enjoy that, and that's the enjoyable part of it, not the end goal, and but the whole thing. And which also leads to my second realization that in road tripping we say smell the flowers, which means don't rush. Like don't be in that hurry of आज मैंने 1,000 kilometers एक दिन में किया. It's not about that. You can have a very enjoyable experience in 200 kilometers also doing in a day. So stop on the roadside, have some chai from a thela, have a coconut water or some local drink or some bhajia or something. Enjoy the journey. So it's the metaphor applies to life also, that enjoy the small pleasures also. It's not just about the big thing that I reach my goal. So uh, and you meet very interesting people when you're road tripping, and you don't even have to go outside the country. Like even in India, in Maharashtra or outside Maharashtra, wherever you're touring, you get to meet different people and learn different perspectives. And sometimes it's a big myth buster for us, that we think that oh, people from Gujarat are like this. Some stereotypes that we may have, or people from Karnataka are like this. But actually, spending time with them, we realize that people generally everywhere, not just in India, but everywhere around the world, are the same. People they want to live peacefully, want to welcome a guest passing through their land. Nobody is unnecessarily aggressive with you. So it breaks a lot of myths, and you learn a lot about the world. And you also, it's like when you are in a different country and you are looking at things in India, it's like you are sort of, you come out of your own, like a bubble, and you are in a different place. So you also see your own country from a different perspective, or your own hometown, or your own state, or whatever. So it gives you a different perspective about your own place, and you see some flaws that we have ourselves. So because being here, you're always, oh, they always, Pakistan, like this, always talking and doing things with us, or some other country said something about us, or oh, these people are always racist towards us, or things like that. But you go outside and then you see how we behave also.
Right.
So that teaches you a lot. So, and that happens mostly, or rather in the best way, on a road journey.
Right.
Yeah.
So, as you said about challenges and what we see and how we see the journey after going there. So, when you are on a road trip, there are many unexpected bumps and twists that come around. Okay. So, have you ever experienced such a bump moment or a twist that help you rethink your approach towards life?
Uh, yes. I mean, I don't think any road trip uh, that we've conducted has been without its challenges. Sometimes, or most times, our participants or the travelers who come with us, may not reach them, but in the back end, there's always a lot of challenges happening, logistical, or be it with food or with the cars or with the bikes. And other than that, even before that, when I used to travel on my own, there's breakdowns with vehicle, or you have an accident, or you reach late someplace and you don't get a hotel, or being stuck in Rohtang Pass once. In many years ago, we were coming down Rohtang Pass, and it was full of slush and mud, and all the vehicles got stuck there, and clutches burnt, and we was stuck there for 12 hours without any food. I had to walk down the whole mountain in riding boots to collect food for my team, and again ride up with the thela of food in my hand in the middle of the night. And then suddenly someone woke us up. We slept in our car, and somebody woke us up and said that, okay, the traffic's moving, let's go. And one of my lenses, I lost one of my lenses. So just, I had good vision with one eye at night and one didn't. And just like that, I made it to Manali. And, so such things always happen. And I think what it teaches you that this too shall pass. That it doesn't. I mean, you just have to keep going through it, and eventually it passes. And I think that's something that helped me through the pandemic, because having a travel business, we almost went dormant during those 2 years. because our trips are mainly international, so there was no international travel. But I knew that this will end sometime, so just keep trying, keep trying. So this confidence or this strong conviction comes from there. Yeah.
So as you said, keep trying means if we are focused on one path, we should keep on doing it again and again, and the solution will automatically come out. That's what I can sum up to after your answer.
Not exactly. I mean, yes, you have to experiment, you have to try. But if something is not working that way, try the same thing some other way. That, okay, it's not working this way. Like in the pandemic, we said that, okay, international trips are not going to work. So let's do some trips in India. Maybe we will not make much money, but, the brand keeps running. We also have something to do. We'll gain knowledge about new destinations within the country. People will also get engaged with us during these 1 or 2 years. Then in the middle of it, we heard that okay, Russia is open and we can go there. So we tried doing that. So you have to try different things from different approaches. There's never like one right road to reach your destination. So you can take different roads. So you have to keep trying different roads.
Right. Okay. So as you said about when you used to travel solo in your thing, and you said, so what is solitude mean to you when you're traveling alone on a single road?
So what happens is when you're driving or riding a motorcycle, you have to focus a lot. There may be passengers in your car or someone sitting behind you on the bike, music playing, but still you have to focus a lot, and that in that process it sort of helps you connect with your inner being, and you go in this, at least I go in this sort of zen mode where you have a lot of mental clarity. Many of my good ideas or answers to some question that I'm facing or some challenge that I'm having have come when I'm riding or driving. Not all of those ideas are great, but at that time I'm very excited, and sometimes I also get some great ideas, or it's a great mood booster for me. So if I'm feeling a little low, sometimes I just go for a night ride. I just take my bike out and go for a spin. It just I think releases happy hormones in me. It helps me focus and have mental clarity.
Okay. So as you said about that, it helps you to think, answer your questions, and you started your own business because you were traveling in a train and you got your business model from there only. So it's a very good thing because traveling alone also makes you feel happy. Like रात को we are going for a drive, सिर्फ drive करके आ गए. With your partner also, if you go for a drive, you feel very happy. So for many people, it's a very अच्छा वाला feeling आता है सबको करके. But during your journey, have you क्या बोलते हैं आपके जो fears है वो आपने overcome किए, ऐसा कुछ हुआ है आपके साथ?
Yes, so many times. So I was not very comfortable riding or driving off road because it's loose sand, your bike may skid. But now it's one of my favorite things to do. So then say in Ladakh there are water crossings, there are slippery stones under that water, so your bike or car may slip or get stuck, and you may even get washed down the river. But so just learning and observing how others are doing it, and just facing your fear, you realize that it's not so bad, or I can do this. Or sometimes you even end up realizing, like how I ended up realizing about off-roading, that actually I love this. I want to do more of this. So that's how you overcome challenges, I guess, just by facing it, and there's no other way. Yeah.
Okay, so Motorova is completely doing the trips internationally. Why don't you plan some trips in India? Like you have given it a thought, or it's on purpose कि Motorova सिर्फ international trips करेगा? इसका क्या है logic?
The reason is more to do with the business aspect of it.
Okay.
Doing trips in India, we don't earn as much as we earn by doing trips abroad. And we've not really found the right product market fit of doing tours in India. Having said that, now we've come up with a few new ideas which we want to try. So I think in the near future, people will see some trips in India from Motorover. Like just after pandemic, we did start a tour of Northeast. So we were doing Assam, Meghalaya, Arunachal, and it worked well in that year. But as people got more confident that COVID is not returning, it's gone for sure, and the whole world slowly opened up. Then suddenly we were not getting many people who wanted to come with us for this Northeast trip. So again, the realization was the same, that Indians don't want to travel with us in India, or at least at the cost at which we do it, because it's a business. So it's not going to be as cheap as doing it on your own. And because when we are doing it, we have to consider a lot of things about safety, arrangements, food, which adds up to the cost. So maybe either they don't need us to do trips in India, or they don't want to do it at this cost. So that's why we've stayed away, because as a business, it has to make sense. But like I said, in the near future, you will see some interesting trips coming from us in India.
Okay, so Motorover has planned so many trips. मैंने आपके इस पे भी देखा, आपने जैसे असम और अरुणाचल प्रदेश इस चीजों के बारे में बोला. एंड गोइंग अहेड, ऐसा कोई ड्रीम ट्रिप आपको प्लान करना है जो अभी तक आपने किया नहीं हो, टू योर ड्रीम प्लेसेस, तो ऐसा कुछ सोच रखा है आपने?
Yes, of course. I'm not going to tell you all of them.
Okay.
But one thing that I really wanted to do, or have been wanting to do for a long time, is an overland journey from India to Europe.
Okay.
So by road. So it goes via China, then Central Asia, then either the Middle East or Russia, and then into Europe, and then ending till London. So that's the farthest you can go west by land.
Okay.
Beyond that, you then have to fly to the Americas. So that's the journey I really want to do. So cross-continental trips, and then again north to South America. So such journeys I want to do. Hopefully, so we are planning for this India to Europe journey in 2026.
Okay.
So work is already on that. So hopefully I get to do that.
Okay. So as you said about cross-country trips you want to plan, but it takes a lot of ideation से action में जाने के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा planning लगता है. So एक trip का आप मेरे को बता सकते हो कि ideation से action के लिए आप कितना planning करते हो और क्या-क्या planning करते हो?
So usually it's a 6 to 8 month cycle.
Okay.
First is fixing the itinerary, what we want to do in that country or group of countries. Then getting the necessary bookings for it, and then launching the trip, and then the promotional or the sales period is about 3 to 4 months, and then we have to keep a couple of months for visas and payments and all of these things, and then the tour. So it's usually like a 6 to 8 month cycle for every tour. As we do that trip again and again and again, that becomes a little easier, but the duration is usually the same, 6 to 8 months.
ओके, सो इन दैट जैसे बहुत सारी चीजें आ जाती है, बिकॉज वी बीइंग इंडियंस और हम लोग इंडिया से दूसरे कंट्री में जा रहे हैं. फर्स्टली जो बाइक्स होते हैं वो आप कैसे रेंट करते हो, सेकेंडली द लाइसेंसिंग पार्ट, एंड थर्डली अबाउट द सेफ्टी पार्ट. हाउ डू यू ब्रीफ योर टीम एंड हाउ डू यू डू दिस प्रोसेस?
Right. So licensing, it's pretty straightforward. Many countries do accept Indian licenses, because luckily Indian licenses are in English, which is which is the most spoken language in the world. So especially English speaking countries all accept it. So UK, the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, India. So over here the Indian license is valid. And many other places also in Europe, also most of the continental Europe, Indian license is fine. You don't need anything else for a short-term rental. But there are a few countries like in Central Asia or Russia or Africa where you need an international driving permit. So it's a permit, it's not a license. Okay. So you don't have to go and give any test. You get this permit based on your Indian license. And what is included, I mean, which type of vehicles does the Indian license allow you to drive or ride? So the same, you will be allowed to drive or ride outside also. Then you need to have your air tickets, visa, as a proof that you're actually going on a trip. And then you go to the RTO and get your it's called a IDP, International Driving Permit. Takes about 2 days. Then there's another simple way of doing it that has come up now. It's a online IDP. There's a website, internationaldrivingpermit.com or something, and you just go there and you pay, and then based on your Indian license, I think it's done in like 5 minutes. And even the physical card comes to you in a few months, and the IDPs, that one, online one is valid for I think 3 years. So that's a easier way to do it now. So either IDP or Indian license, you just have to. But again, it depends, like because many of our service providers, like motorcycle rental companies in the same country, two companies may have different policies. One may need it, one may not need it. But either it's Indian license or IDP, nothing beyond that. So if your Indian license says that you can ride a motorcycle with gear, you can ride a motorcycle with gear there also. Now, coming to the safety part of it, for us, safety is the number one priority. So I always tell my team that our main goal is bringing the people back home safely.
Right.
So for that, if we have to compromise on a bit of fun, it's okay, but we cannot compromise on safety. So we focus a lot on safety. Like if certain roads, so when we are road tripping, we have local connections. So we keep checking the weather and the road conditions, if there's any landslide, or if there's, if we are doing any off-road patches, has there been a sandstorm, or if there's rain, then is there slush, is there snow, which makes the roads dangerous to ride. And then we just skip that and take some alternate road if we get that information. And even if people complain and, sometimes they feel a little disappointed that they couldn't do that section. But for me, that's okay, because my first priority is getting them back home safely. Then secondly, the team that I have locally and my team that goes from here, they're well-trained people. We train them. They know all the protocols, what is to be done in which situation. We have a first aid kit. On some of the more risky tours, we also carry a doctor with us. So if something happens, so safety is always taken care of. Then first day we do a briefing. We do go for a short spin. We usually hand over the cars or the bikes and go for fueling the vehicles, which serves as a small test ride. And the first day of any road trip, we keep it a little easy so that people get used to that vehicle and driving in that country, and especially if we are on the other side of the road than India. So such things we do. Plus, there are rules, of course, that no drinking while driving, no coming out of window or sunroof, and things like that. And we always tell people to get enough sleep at night. And if we see that you seem a little, underslept or not sober, then we don't let them ride or drive, because there are risks to themselves, to the other participants, to locals in that country. So this aspect we are very, very strict about. And beyond this, if I see that when I'm riding, if I see that somebody is making any mistake, then at the next stop, or if it's very urgent, or say if I see that something from his riding gear, like the strap of his helmet, he's forgotten to put it on. So I immediately make him, just go next to him, tap on his shoulder and just make him stop and tell him that strap it on. Or if it's something minor or some mistake that he's doing on the road, then at the next stop I tell them that you're riding with your foot on the brake, so make sure the foot is a little back, don't keep the brake pressed, or when you're going into the corner, you're taking a wrong line, and when you exit a blind corner, you're ending up in the middle of the road. So you have to first go wide and then go in, so that you exit on the correct side of the road. So such tips we keep giving them, and of course if they have any questions, we sort of do tutorials like that.
Okay. So what are the bikes generally that you use during the trips like?
So motorcycles, we usually use touring motorcycles or adventure motorcycles, where the riding position is very relaxed. You're sitting straight up, because if you're riding a sports bike, the riding position is very committed because you're crouched on the handlebars. All your weight comes on your arms and shoulders, plus your back is not straight. So over a long period, it's not very comfortable. Then there's a myth that people think that cruiser motorcycles are more comfortable. Maybe in the city you feel that, but for long touring, they're not. Because that position is not very suitable for your body. So riding touring bikes or adventure bikes where you're sitting straight up. So there's something called as a rider triangle. So which is the triangle which the seat to the handlebar to the foot pegs make. So that has to be in a certain way, where you're sitting straight up. The handlebar, it shouldn't be too far, it shouldn't be too low. Then your back is crouched, so it has to be straight up. And the handlebar and the foot pegs cannot be very far back, which is called rear sets. It has to be more in the front, so you're more relaxed. So this makes it easier. Then this touring and ADV bikes also have windscreen, which deflects the wind. So you cannot ride what they call naked bikes. So naked bikes are, let's say a Bajaj Pulsar is what we call a naked bike. So there's no tall windscreen. So the wind blast is on you, so you get more tired. So to avoid all this, we usually take touring bikes or adventure bikes.
Okay. So it's very interesting, like people are going outside, taking bikes and just exploring the city. It gives you the local feel also. मतलब अलग अलग जगह पे जाके हम बहुत सारी चीजें एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हैं. And एक चीज है कि आपके पूरे जर्नी में you have met Valentino. So how was that feeling like for you?
Incredible. One of the moments in life which I'll always remember and cherish. Amazing. I mean, see, it was like a fanboy moment. So we didn't really have a big conversation. I was just waiting with other fans when he was entering the racetrack, and as soon as he came out of the car, we all went running, and I just asked him for a picture. So he just, for like 1 second, he just posed with me and we took a picture. That was it. So, but it's, I mean, he's... I look up to him. I mean, I'm a big fan of him. So for me, it was a very special moment.
Right. So as you said, every biker के लिए या जो travel कर रहा है उसके लिए कोई ना कोई idol होता है. जैसे आपके लिए Valentino है. So अगर I am starting my biking journey right now, so which bike you would suggest me to start with the journey?
It's a long answer.
Okay.
Because it's not that simple. I mean, it depends on what kind of riding you want to do. So you want to go off-road, or you just want to go for weekend rides with your friends to nearby places, or you want to do very fast kind of riding, or you want to do riding on the racetrack. So if you're riding on the racetrack, I would suggest a sports bike. If on the road, then a nice small touring bike or a adventure bike. And of course, if you're going off-road, then you need to have either an adventure bike capable of going off-road, or a proper off-roading bike. So it depends on the purpose that you're riding. But as a starter, you could just go for a nice touring motorcycle, I would say. Small, 200, 300 cc. Yeah.
So as you said, कि a cruising bike is good. Now, if I want to plan a trip with Motorola, what are your upcoming trips like, and how can I go for them like?
Okay. So first of all, I said cruising bikes are not very good for touring. Touring bikes. So there's a difference. You sit more upright on touring bikes or adventure bikes. So basically, touring bikes and adventure bikes are similar in the way they look. It's just that adventure bikes are dual purpose. So they are good on the road as well as off road. Whereas touring bikes are good only on the road. But otherwise, they are both bikes which, where you sit in an upright riding posture and there's wind protection. So those are the bikes. And I think the next thing you ask me is
About motor.
where all we are doing trips. So we do about 18 to 20 road trips every year. Half of them motorcycle tours, half of them car tours. These both, I mean, motorcycle tours and car tours are separate tours. They're not mixed because the group dynamics is very different on a motorcycle tour and on a car tour. Um, and we do about 8-10 of each motorcycle tours and car tours. Right now, we're doing tours in a few countries in Europe. Africa, we do Morocco. In Central Asia, we do Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, the stans. We do Russia, and we do New Zealand.
Okay.
Now, going forward, next year we are coming up with a few new destinations. We are starting South Africa, so that will be our second trip in Africa. Then we are starting with Georgia. It's a small country in Central Asia. We are thinking of Mongolia, Australia. Then we are also going to start South America. So these are the new upcoming trips that we're planning.
Okay. So, and can you tell more about Motorovo also? Like, as a company, what do you believe in your company, and what is your vision like?
Okay. So my vision is to offer exciting journeys and various flavors of these road journeys. So, we will do sports car tours, we will do classic car tours, we will do thematic tours like road trips with photography as the focus, or, culinary or gastronomy as the focus. So it will be more food focused. Just exploring the world in the best way possible, and variety of experiences. And it's not just about the driving. So in our trips, we include a lot of activities because you're going to these places and you're going in the interior. So interesting places along the route, you have to see them. So be it some waterfall or some bridge or some castle or some activity or some experience. So this is always included. So that is what enriches the trip. Just riding or driving, I mean, yeah, there's the fun of the driving pleasure, or the riding is fun, but it's also the activities and the sightseeing you do along the route is what makes it a more enjoyable experience. So giving more and more of that, and doing more and more combinations of that, being more accessible to people, because right now the trips that we are doing, they are quite expensive because of all the things that are included in the trip. But how can we make it a little easier for younger people, people in their 30s or late 20s who can do it, who can afford it. So that's the things that we are focusing on right now.
Okay, so as you mentioned about food, photography, and yourself, you are a foodie. You like doing photography, and you also are a dog lover. So combining these three things together, you have any special story from a specific trip?
Well, it's from all my trips, because the one of the reason I think that my job is the best job in the world for me is because I get to enjoy all my passions doing what I do. So I do photography. I get to eat interesting food, meet interesting people, see new places, new experiences, riding and driving on the most beautiful roads in the world. And the people who come with us are usually very accomplished people, So they're doing very well in their own field. So I learn a lot. I get to enjoy all of it on each and every tour that I do.
Nice. So it was great talking to you about Motorover, about your journeys. Got to learn a lot. Got to know very new things.
Yeah.
So let's come to a very interesting part about a podcast. That's rapid fire.
Okay.
So let's go.
Yeah.
So what's the best motorcycle sound you have ever heard?
Inline 4. So 4-cylinder inline configuration creates the most smooth. It's like a smooth howl. I love that sound.
Okay. One destination you could ride right now, no matter the distance.
Very difficult, but since it's rapid fire, let's say New Zealand.
Okay. If your life were a motorcycle, which model would it be and why?
Mm, it's again, it's again a very it's I pass. I can't answer this.
Okay. The one thing you can't travel without.
The one thing I can't travel without my helmet.
Okay. Most beautiful road you have ever taken a ride on.
Again, a very difficult question because the world is very beautiful. You know, there are so many beautiful places. I have ridden so many beautiful roads. But if I have to, just close my eyes and think of the first one that comes to mind, it's it's a road in New Zealand,
Okay.
which goes to Queenstown along a lake. It's called the Devil's Staircase. Lovely road, mountain on one side, lakes on the other side, and it's a nice snaking road. I love twisty roads. I don't like straight highways or straight roads. I love that road.
Okay. One piece of safety advice you ever swear by.
Do not get competitive. Enjoy it. Do it for enjoyment, not for any kind of ego boost or competition that always lands you in trouble.
Most thrilling moment in your racing career.
The closest I finished to a podium, I finished fourth once, which was the highest I finished in a race. So that was that was almost a rush.
Okay. Favorite Indian food to stop on a road trip.
Coconut water.
Okay. So we come to the end of the rapid fire. It was a very nice one. Nice talking to you. Thank you so much for the opportunity that you gave us to come on the podcast, and it was lovely talking to you.
Yeah, thanks, Manav. Thanks for the opportunity to you also. Yeah.